you guys doing?
Good, my man.
Just want to let you know we're not selling anything. We're just here to ask some people. We just want to ask you one question.
Yeah, I got you.
If I pour water in a glass, the surface of that water is either curved or is it level? Which one would you say?
I'd say it's level.
It's flat. What if I pour water in a bathtub? Is it flat or curved? The surface.
It's a bathtub. I'd say it's flat. Yeah.
All right. How about like a pond? The surface is flat. A lake, flat surface. How about an ocean? Same thing, flat. And if the Earth is 70% water and 70% of the surface of that object is flat, how is it a ball?
Same movie, different actors. Or same movie, different actors.
So that's the most basic thing about flat Earth. But we have over 200 proofs, and we've given away free DVDs where you can look at the stuff. We have this website here, flatearth101.com. You can go there for 200 proofs. So we're taught this in school, right, about the sun and the earth. If this is North America and the sun's here and this is North America, is it nighttime or daytime? Nighttime, right? And on December 25th, on Christmas, you can look in the sky and you'll see the Big Dipper, right? 6 months later, they teach us that the earth is going around the sun. Now North America's here and it's facing away from the sun. What is it now? It's dark again. And you look up in the sky and you see what? The Big Dipper. This time you're facing that side of the universe. This time you're facing that side of the universe, but you see the same thing. You can't look in two different directions and see the same thing. Earth is not a globe.
So, do you think that the Earth has an end to it, where it would be like, if it's all flat, it has to have an end where it would curve right off?
Does the universe have an end?
No, but I mean,
Oh, you're asking about an edge. Well, see, there's an ice wall that goes around it. So can water fall off a lake? No, because there's an edge to it. Think of the Earth. Think of this whole thing as a big lake, and the continents are islands in this lake. There's a shoreline, but there's no edge. Water can't fall off the. Yeah, so you can go down here, and then you can't go past the 60th South parallel because the Antarctic Treaty forbids it. You can't do it.
Now, did America sign that treaty?
Yes, America and the Soviet Union were the first two signatories.
The biggest country would have to.
Right, and it
wouldn't be enforceable.
It started December 1st, 1959, and then in 1961 it was ratified with the 12 original signatories. And you cannot travel below the 60th South parallel without getting a petitioning, which costs millions of dollars. And when you do go, like on a cruise, they take you to several islands, not the mainland, but some islands where penguins are. And what's the name of one of the islands they take you to? Deception Island. Words have meaning. Horizon, horizontal. Sea level, it's level. Deception, lies. Right.
So they tell you in plain sight, but you need the eyes to open up and look at it.
So what would you consider what like let's say a satellite is capturing?
Right. So just because an object is going around, just like the sun does, it goes around the Tropic of Cancer and around the Tropic of Capricorn, just like this, and it fades away.
But if it was like, let's say if we were to have a satellite in space, wouldn't it have to be facing down the whole time?
Well, you can't go to space. Space isn't real. Because the second law of thermodynamics says you cannot have gas pressure next to a vacuum. You have to have a container. So let's say you have like a can of Pepsi and you open the can. What happens? The gas escapes to fill the void around it, right? So we have gas pressure. We're breathing the air right now. Space is a vacuum. Why isn't it being sucked off? The second law of thermodynamics prohibits that from happening. So therefore, you can't go to space because there's a firmament. Are you religious at all?
I would try to be, but I would say so, but I don't go to church or anything, but I believe in God and everything.
So you believe in God and anything. Would you say the Bible is truth, or would you say that it's just a bunch of lies?
From what I read, I agree with some of it.
So it says that the earth is separate, the waters of the heavens are separated from the waters of the earth, the waters below, right? By the firmament. Firmament, a dome. Just like in this model.
We would all agree that the North Pole is the magnetic north, right? Right. So if the Earth is like this, right, and you have a compass, magnetic north is pointing to north, right? Where's south? South's all around you. So you're going east, you go west, it's the same thing.
help us out?
So also, one thing I'd have to ask is if there was to be flat and there was an edge around, how would water flow the way it does? You know what I'm talking about? Like, and
Water flows downhill. We have topography. I mean, we can see mountains and stuff. You have topography. Water flows downhill.
Yeah,
but once it rests, it's flat. The
It
surface.
would have to interact with the Atlantic Ocean, Pacific. So how
Well,
does
like there's a mountain here. It's going to flow down there, flow this way, and flow down to the oceans because the sea level is always level at the edge.
but so if there's an edge, would the water just repel back, or it
Oh,
just-
here?
Just, yeah, let's say
This
it goes to
the
edge.
highest landmass on Earth is Antarctica.
Oh, you're talking.
Yeah, the average height of this land here is 8,200
so,
feet.
So you consider Antarctica the edge?
Right. This is the ring.
beginning of
It's the beginning of what's beyond.
Okay.
It's like Admiral Byrd said. He said, "Oh yeah, there's continents beyond here larger than the size of the United States." And he went on national TV and said that. And then what happened to him? 2 weeks later, he's dead.
Yeah.
So it's just like the Polish astronaut. He got back from the International Space Station, which people are like, "Hey, it's in space, right? Space station." He came back and they asked him, "Is it flat or a globe?" And he said flat.
So you think we haven't seen past Antarctica?
I think the military has, but no civilians. You can't go there. You can't go. They won't let you travel into Antarctica on your own
Why would that be?
because the Antarctic Treaty. They made a treaty not letting anybody put up shop, go there, nothing. Why would you do that? To save some penguins? There's no trees. There's no plants. There's no nothing. So what do you?
And they tell us there's no trees and no plants in Antarctica, right? And the first line of the Antarctic Treaty says it was put in place to do what? Protect plant and animal life. Well, you just said there's no plants here. How are you protecting something that's not there?
Also, one thing is like let's say a satellite picture like that.
Mm-hmm.
If the Earth was flat, why would it be captured in like such a space where you can tell that there's something behind it? As that.
Right, so these aren't real. Everything's Photoshopped. The guy that makes this stuff, his name's Robert Simmons. And he's come out and he says, "Yeah, I work for NASA, and what I do is I Photoshop, and we call them pictures."
I heard about NASA. They like change their picture every year. People started picking up on it. You know,
Yeah.
There's some,
Look at the clouds.
Some sketchy stuff.
Oh, look at this over here. So when you get like an iPhone, it shows like the picture of Earth, the big famous blue marble picture. But if you zoom in on it, all the clouds copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. Would a real world look like that, or is it Photoshop?
I'd say it's probably Photoshop.
Exactly.
Look at the size of the continents. Totally different sizes.
Those are all official images.
Yeah, these are all official images from NASA's website. And who started NASA?
I'm not sure.
Walt Disney and Werner von Braun. So use your imagination. It's all fantasy. It's fantasy, just like Disney. It's all fantasy.
So why do they want us to believe that it's round?
Well, if there's more land and resources beyond here, how do you keep people from going there? Pretend like it's this. The best way to keep someone in prison is if they don't know they're in prison.
But you don't think like the thousands of years, let's say, mankind has been on Earth, you don't think anybody hasn't ventured off that far?
Yeah, there's lots of people that's gone missing, explorers. Look at all the explorers over time that's gone missing.
Yeah, but that's more like a technical thing. Like, let's say if I was to explore a climate where, you know, most men can't survive, if I die, it's very likely. But for something like, let's say, you know, like somebody, if this is the ideology that people believe in, somebody hasn't gone far enough to actually look into it, like, you know, right in front of you. Because let's say, you know, like somebody that would believe in the flat Earth, there hasn't been anybody that has gone out and tried to like actually go past Antarctica.
So let's say I want to do that. Let's say I want to go to Antarctica and do that, right? So because the Antarctic Treaty says that I can't go there and explore, I have to go to petition the government. If I go to do that, I have to pay millions and millions of dollars in fees and to go through a process over years to get that permit to go there.
Wouldn't, like, if someone like really rich want to go there, though? If
you're really rich and they're going to allow you to go there, you're part of the elite. You don't need to go there. You live in a place. Yeah.
But still, like, you know, we can all agree that there would be enough flat Earth supporters to be able to fund something like that. So why wouldn't it become a thing?
Because we can't go there.
But they can still turn you away. You
They
can pay all
turn
that
you-
money to
yeah.
get permits and all that, and it only takes one country to say no, you don't have good enough reason, and you don't get your money back.
Well, hey, my information is free.
like realistically, why do you think companies like NASA and stuff would spend millions of dollars on sending stuff to, you know, like
Oh, because they get
take pictures?
$60 million a day is what it's up to now. That was back in 2016. So they're getting $60 million a day. Why not spend a few $1,000,000 here and there to do a pretend, which we can follow the trajectory of the spacecraft, watch them, and they're coming right back over here and landing in the ocean.
So like companies like Elon Musk, let's say, you know, if he's trying to start stuff to go to
Yeah, fake X, yeah.
Yeah.
So you think NASA hired him or something to try?
Why would he do it for even cheaper without the funding, let's say? Because he hasn't really got government funding yet. He's just starting out. But why would he do it without the government funding and his own money?
I'm sure he's got that.
If it was flat, you know what I'm saying?
So he probably knows the truth. And have you ever seen a puppet show? There's always someone pulling the strings. You don't know what they got on this guy. And he tells you, do you see the car in space?
Yep.
Where he said, I sent a Tesla to space. What would happen to the tires if they were in space?
They would be deflated because it sucked it all out.
Oh,
If there was
yeah.
even air in them, but wouldn't they melt? Do you know what the thermosphere, the temperature of the thermosphere where satellites supposedly are? What is it, thousands of degrees? Those satellites would melt.
I mean, I would bet that the car would have something to do with it. Like I don't know. I think he would probably go through all that.
No,
You
it was
said
He said it's a stock car.
he said it was a stock car.
you had said that we had a space station, right?
Yep.
Well, on NASA.gov, you can look this up. Look up the Icon satellite. It says on NASA.gov, word for word, that this satellite is not in space. It is in our atmosphere and is studying our upper atmosphere. It is 360 miles up. The International Space Station is 254 miles up. Yet it's in space. How is that possible?
What, the actual space station there?
So the space station is 254 miles up. And NASA says on their website that an object at 360 miles up is not in space. So how do you have something in space 106 miles below something that's still not space up there?
I wouldn't know.
Doesn't really make sense, does
It's
it?
just been caught lying NASA so much that it's
Yeah,
you know, you just gotta figure it out.
NASA does have a tendency to lie about a lot of
well, the reason why
Lie about everything, not a lot of things.
I wouldn't say that the line has something to do with flat Earth. I would say the line would have to do with NASA is their main source of funding when it comes to things like that.
Tell me one thing NASA's given us.
I wouldn't know. I haven't studied NASA.
And look in NASA's logo, bro. What do you see here? What is this? The tongue of the serpent, the deceiver. It's right in plain sight and no one sees it.
But don't you think that like they might just be lying because there's no competitors or nobody to tell them different? Because
Well, there is competitors, and they're all showing the exact same thing. Here's NASA, Russia, European Space Agency, the Japanese.
yeah, but
And everything's different. How can you take a picture of the same thing and be different?
yeah, but like American-wise, they're not getting funded like how our government's funding them. That's what I'm talking about. Like NASA, realistically, we can compare NASA in America. It's almost like a monopoly, right? Until we have Elon Musk and other businesses trying to keep it up. But still, they can lie and get away with it due to them getting money anyway. There is nobody in America to speak out about it.
Exactly. So they just keep getting the money,
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about.
and everything's compartmentalized.
I want that now.
You hear that, Tommy? I better leave from out here. That's
About,
money off.
about
Hi,
the
Frank.
airplane- About the airplane thing. You
All right.
said that it would just travel right up to space, correct? Or it would travel
Right.
up to a different atmosphere.
So let me give you my personal experience as a pilot. I'm a former pilot.
It's a nice
So-
show.
Oh, he just cut wood and I cut wood and he piled it out.
Yeah, that's what it was. So the gyroscope measures your rigidity in space. So you look at your gyroscope, and once you're flying straight and level, you set your autopilot. And after flying, let's say 200 miles, you've been flying straight and level. It has nothing to do with the shape of anything that's below you. You're flying straight and level. Now the Earth curves at 8 inches per mile squared in the globe model. My altimeter should change, but my altimeter never changes. Why? Because I'm flying over a surface that's flat.
You don't think gravity would have an effect on that?
Gravity doesn't have an effect on your gyroscope.
No, right. Gyroscope's not even magnetic.
Nope.
It's just not concentric.
When you're completely flat and level, so is your gyroscope. In order for me to keep up with the curve of the Earth, gravity wouldn't take into effect anything on the gyroscope. I would have to not be going straight and level.
you'd have to nose the plane down every
That's
couple
interesting
hundred
as
feet.
hell to me.
So, do you think that like a lot of these space companies, like the pictures are like false? Is that?
Well, yeah, they're 100% false, and they admit it. They say, what did Don Pettit say at NASA when he was asked about it? He said, they're photoshopped because they have to be. Well, why do they have to be? Because you can't take a picture.
Yeah.
And see all those astronauts right there? You remember the Space Shuttle Challenger?
I've heard about that.
The one that blew up?
Yeah, blew
right?
up.
Killed all those people? We found all of them. Still alive. Look at their faces. The young ones, obviously, when they were in the space program, and then that's them now.
You don't think they got blown up?
No, it's a deception. It never happened.
There's never been anyone in those
They're in the
rockets.
trucks.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
And half of them still have the same name.
What was the year difference after this? Like when they found them?
What was it, 1988 to like 2012, something like that? So 24 years.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but there's always a lookalike here.
Yep. Speaking of lookalikes,
So a
every
lot
single
of
one of them has a twin.
Not everyone. But
Not that ninth guy. Yeah.
Look at the difference in them, right? But a lot of them have the same name. So what's the coincidence? You look just like the guy and you have the same name.
Yeah, it's crazy. Thanks for speaking.
All right, thanks, man. Good to see you.
For the conversation.
Good to meet you. You took one of the brochures, right? Just all we're asking, we're not here to convince you of anything. Just look into it, make a decision for
Of course,
yourself.
I'm always open-minded with stuff. But thank you guys.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.